Hi, Amber here, and I am just going to talk to you a little bit about my upcoming surgery. I wanted to kind of do this in a vlog style because I just really feel like sometimes it's the easiest way for me to communicate when I'm not exactly sure of the words, mostly because the surgery hasn't happened yet and I don't know how I'm going to be feeling afterwards or things like that. Plus, I kind of want to give you a behind the scenes, kind of in the trenches look of what it is like in case this is something that you are dealing with, because it might be the thing that you need to help you feel better and to get well. But sometimes if you don't know what it's like or you don't have someone that has gone through it, then it can be a little intimidating, and I want to help you through that. I actually have a lot of friends that have PCOS and endometriosis, and this procedure should help possibly cure all of that. It kind of sounds like a magic pill, I realize. So I'm just going to be walking you through this as I go through it so we can actually see what changes. So first of all, I have PCOS. I've had PCOS for ever since puberty, and I probably have endometriosis. They haven't gone in there and found it, but the doctor, my surgeon, is expecting there to be some based on the symptoms and everything else that's going on with my body. It just makes sense that I have endometriosis. His words were, "I would be shocked if you didn't have any when I get in there." So, most likely also have endometriosis. I also have a really another interesting sort of thing going on in the lady regions. I have a bicornuate uterus, which bicornuate means two horns, so two edges. So basically I have a heart-shaped uterus. It is a birth defect. And most people don't even realize that they have one until they've had several recurring miscarriages or things like that. So being that we found out about this now after one miscarriage, and I'm actually in the process of being treated by someone who can kind of help fix this and guide me through this, is really just a huge blessing. Basically, when I go in for my surgery in just 4 days, at least as of today, I don't know when I'll get this video up, but on the 28th of December, I'm going in for surgery. They are for sure doing a bilateral ovarian wedge resection. That just means both ovaries, bilateral, means one on each side, ovarian wedge resection. So basically, in PCOS, the ovaries are quite swollen and large, about softball size sometimes. And so what they're going to do is they're going to go in with that ovary and they're going to cut out a pie shape and then put it back together. So it'll be smaller, a lot more natural and normal, what it's supposed to be. And this is what resets the body into producing hormones in the way that it should. They've actually been doing this procedure since the 70s. But when birth control came out and they could regulate the symptoms that way, they're like, oh, well, we don't have to do the surgery anymore because we have this medicine that will fix it. The only problem is the medicine doesn't fix it. It simply regulates things like your cycle, but that doesn't mean that your body is actually doing the things that it should. It actually compounds the issue. Now, I'm no doctor, so please don't take this as medical advice just to throw out your pills and everything like that. But I would encourage you to find a doctor that wants to treat the cause and not the symptoms. When you get right down to it, the body's natural state is fertile. So infertility is a symptom and not a diagnosis. So in my case, we've discovered that my body does not produce hormones correctly because of PCOS. And because of that, we've discussed it with my surgeon. The best procedure for me to move forward with is the wedge resection. Now, there have been some complications, and maybe some of you with PCOS have heard of this before, but there can be lesions. So when they cut out that pie shape of the ovary and then they sew it back together, sometimes the edges kind of fray out like this, and these are raw edges of flesh, and they will stick to other areas inside. And in case you haven't brushed up on your A and P in a while, the inside of a woman's body is pretty dang complicated and really amazing. So there's a lot of things for that raw flesh to stick and heal to, like your intestines or your uterus, fallopian tubes, all kinds of other goodies that are down in there. And that can cause way more complications than what it fixes. However, lately, and in the past, I don't know, maybe 10, 12, 20 years or so, they have changed how they've done things. And instead of, just sewing it back together, like this, they actually fold the raw ends of skin down and sew it together like that. And this is after it's cauterized and everything, right? So it heals and it doesn't leave adhesions and stick to everything else. And I can't remember which, but there's 2 ways of treating endometriosis, and one way is more popular than the other. There's the cutting out and the burning out with like a laser, I believe. However, one of those methods just kind of gets rid of it, but then it comes right back. So I'm having done the other method, and I'm really sorry, but I don't know what that is. But once I figure it out, then I'll let you know. The other option, the other possible treatment that they will do once they get in there, and keep in mind this is all being done laparoscopically, and it is all outpatient, and recovery time is about a week to be back on my feet and get back to work. So unless they do this third portion, which is a little more intensive, they will go in and the doctor will take a look at my uterus. Remember, it's heart-shaped. So he's going to see about flattening and joining out the 2 pieces together. So, and if it's quite severe. The reason why they want to do that is because when you have a heart-shaped uterus and it has 2 kind of humps where the muscles contract during labor, there's a lot of complications that this can cause. First of all, there's not a lot of room for baby. And it also can create birth defects and other complications like that. The baby can't move around and develop as it's supposed to. And then especially during labor is where it gets really tricky, because when the top of the uterus contracts, it works like this to push the baby out. However, if you have 2 or a bicornuate uterus, each side is going to contract and they may not contract together. So in a perfect world, they would have to contract together and be strong enough to help push baby out. But most of the time, this doesn't happen and they contract like this, which means that even though you're going through very strong labor, you will not be able to deliver that child naturally. So at this point, basically, after they treat the PCOS and treat the endometriosis and get my body back to being stable and fertile and hormonally balanced, I'm still going to have the issue of my uterus being strangely shaped. So even if they're able to repair some of it, and they might not, just depends on how severe it is, then any pregnancy that I have is going to be considered high risk from the start, just because of that. So my idea of having a nice home birth and a doula, those are all changing, but that's okay because this is what my body needs. And I'm probably going to have a mandatory C-section, again, because of the issue of not being able to actually push the baby out during labor. So that's what's going on. I will post some information on the fertility system and body tracking method that I have been using. It has been an excellent tool to not only get to know my body better, but I will be able to not use birth control and have 99.9% accuracy, which, by the way, is higher than the pill and condoms combined. So it's far more accurate. It alleviates any of the stress and worry because I am terrible at remembering pills. And it also is a great asset for me to look at and view my body's health from the inside out by seeing how it is performing and if it's doing what it's supposed to. So your fertility is a matter of overall health, and that is what I want to share with you today. If you have PCOS, endometriosis, or any other issues like that, I want you to be able to see what this process looks like, and maybe it will give you hope to look for a practitioner who does this so that they can help you. I will put some information in the comments. Bear with me. It might take a while. Again, I'm having surgery, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but I just wanted to give you that update, and I will see you soon. Bye.